Welcome to the Wisconsin Wrestler Podcast with your co-hosts Teague Fenwick and Steve Lurkwood.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of the Wisconsin Wrestler Podcast. I'm your host, Teague Fenwick, coming to you from Holman. Joining me, as always, is my co-host, Steve Lurkwood. Steve, real quick side note, Alante's voice is just like butter. Like, I just can't get sick of that intro, man.
I'm just impressed, man. He does a great job. I've said from the get-go, anybody that can pronounce my last name correctly is an A+ in my book.
Steve, I am, not to steal your line, but I'm excited for this one tonight, man. And I'm stealing your line because I consider myself a little bit of a map nerd myself, and I think this is one of everyone's favorite, not just off-season topics, but it's literally what we talk about throughout the year. This sets the basis for everything that we'll be talking about up through the postseason. And, of course, this is our annual, we call it our regional sectional assignments podcast. And, Steve, folks know our guest by now. He's one of our highest recurring guests. So celebrity status for him, fellow geography nerd, and also, we'll say it, the division cut line spreadsheet expert. I'm talking about none other than North Fond Du Lac, St. Mary's Springs head coach, Doug Forseth. Doug, I'm glad I remembered Forseth at the last second because I was thinking about it earlier today.
Well, some people say Forsyth, but you say it however you want. It's great to be back. It's so much fun to do this with you guys. I really always enjoy this, and so I appreciate you having me back, and my analytical brain is good for something, I guess.
Hey, Doug, I mean, we've had four-time state champs on before, four-time champs, but you're a four-timer, aren't you? This is your fourth episode, right?
I am a four-timer. I was trying to count how many times, so I was pretty excited to remember I was a four-timer.
Nice. That's sweet. Add it to the resume. And Teague, I got to tell you, I think when you and I started the podcast, our whole goal was just to get great people on, get people on smarter than ourselves, and let them go at it. And then we look really good doing it in the process. So that's kind of our guest today. We'll let him just do his stuff, and we just kind of sit around and be eye candy.
Oh, yeah, the basis for today, basically just what we're going to be doing, starting with D1, Sectional A, rolling all the way through all the divisions. Doug's going to talk about the layout for each of the regionals and sectionals. Once he gets done talking about a certain sectional, then Steve, him, and I will chime in, and whatever thoughts we have, we're going to just chuck them out there. Folks, this is a safe space in the comments to diplomatically talk about your thoughts on the assignments as well. So it'll be fun to see what others' thoughts are, too, as we get into this. And also a little wrinkle we're throwing in here. Steve and I are making way too early regional predictions for who's going to qualify for sectionals. Don't worry, it's not going to be the long rambling that we do for when we talk about our predictions in the fall. But, you know, we're going to have some fun with this one. Maybe see if we can get some people going here. So yeah, that's kind of the layout for tonight. But I guess, guys, before we start this, I do just want to say a big accomplishment that I saw yesterday. I got an email about it. The podcast did hit 100,000 total downloads, and like I said, I can't really put it into words, but there's just so many reasons that I'm proud of it, and the fact I think one of the reasons I'm proud is that we've been able to do this for so long, and if I said it was easy the whole time, then Steve would be the first person to say, no, T, you're definitely lying. Because there's definitely been moments of doubt and, moments where I didn't really have confidence. And, just to have a supportive, whether it be supportive listeners or a great co-host, it's been awesome. It's been one heck of a ride. And, hey, hopefully we're still here for 200,000.
Yeah,
Follow-up thoughts,
Steve? No, I was good. I'm glad you said that. That was when you texted me that yesterday. I was pretty. I don't know. I was just grateful and thankful that we're able to do this.
We want to. Speaking of that, want to thank a longtime listener and poster Ben Wonderlick. thank you on the congratulations. And yeah, we're pumped for this one as well, Ben. So, Doug, without further ado, man, the floor's all yours. Let me get one of my 18 tabs pulled up. Also, another shout out for Doug too. I'll be doing a blog, trying to get it out later this week. I'll include the link for Doug's division cut lines, which he does like predictions beforehand of the cut lines, and it's almost 100% accurate. Doug, how close were you this year on that?
I was pretty close on Division One. I didn't realize that Milwaukee Marshall's program was coming back, so I missed Division One by one spot. But Division Two, I missed by quite a bit. There were a lot of changes from Division Two to Division Three. I think more than I've ever seen. So that was I was off by quite a bit on division at the bottom of Division Two and the top of Division Three.
Does a lot of that have to do with co-ops then?
Yes, yeah, the co-ops make a big difference. I can usually see which schools based on just growth or shrinkage will drop, but I don't always know the new co-ops or schools that are adding their programs. So that's always the wrinkle in my predictions.
Well, Doug, what do you say we jump into it here, man? We'll start off D1 Sectional A.
All right. Well, I had to reach out to Chris Hansen from Hudson for Sectional A because he has some thoughts. He always has some thoughts on why his sectional falls the way it does. And he always said it hinges on Rhinelander and whether Rhinelander is Division One or Division Two. And Rhinelander dropped to Division Two this year, but Regis Altoona grew quite a bit, and they jumped up to D1 and filled that spot where Rhinelander usually is. So that didn't change much in this Sectional A, but the change from last year, all the Eau Claire schools in Hudson and Menominee, they all went south with the lacrosse schools. And traditionally, they had always been over with the Wausau schools. And this year, they're back with the Wausau schools. So that's back to normal for Sectional A. So real quick, Regional 1, Hudson is Chippewa Falls, Eau Claire Memorial, Eau Claire North, Hudson, Menominee, New Richmond, Regis Altoona, which is the new one that moved up, and River Falls. And then Region 2 is DC Everest, Lakeland Mercer, Marshfield, Merrill, Stevens Point, Superior, Wausau East, and Wausau West.
So right away on this one, I'm excited to see how Regis Altoona does moving up to Division One. They got third in their super regional last year, and we all know D2 Sectional A. You were hard pressed to make it into that sectional, so I'm excited to see what their team brings. It just seems like they're getting better every year. The big question I had here, and I texted Chris the other day. Usually when I text Chris, I get left on red, and then 3 days later, I get like the best response ever. He's just a busy dude,
Yeah.
and when he responds, he leaves it all on the table. So I'm sure I'll be hearing about my text in like a few days here. But I just want to know, Doug, your thoughts on a Superior with this one. And I guess just my take with this is Superior has a long drive no matter how you slice it, whether it be Regional 1 or Regional 2. But I feel like if you want to keep geography consistent, wouldn't one of the Eau Claire schools or Chippewa Falls bump east into Regional 2 and Superior at least stays west? Or so I just kind of feel like Superior was just the easy choice as opposed to making it look like you're picking on one of those eastern schools.
Yeah, I think the fact that they're all in Eau Claire kind of kept them bunched together. And so Superior was kind of the odd man out. If you look at last year's map, you also had Hayward up there. Hayward dropped out of this sectional back into D2. So they were a little closer to Superior, but Superior is just in no man's land. There is not a D1 school within 100 miles of Superior. I mean, they're gonna drive no matter what.
Right.
Hayward was honestly their best case scenario with them hosting.
Yeah. Now that Hayward's back in D2 again, I don't know. They're pretty far down into D2. They shrunk quite a bit. They're the 14th biggest school in D2, so they'd have to jump a lot of people to get back in D1.
So it was like a 15, 20 school drop. Is that pretty substantial just based on your research?
Yes, it is. You don't typically see schools drop that far.
Well, I think the big for them was they dropped their co-op. Was it with Northwood?
No, they're still co-op. I remember hearing the Hayward coach on the podcast, and he was quite certain he was going to be back in D2, and so I figured their co-op was ending. But according to the thing, it's still Hayward Northwood. So it was just both schools shrunk.
So I just had to do a little research here from Superior to Hudson, which is the regional host. It was like 2.5 hours. And then from Superior to DC Everest, it's 3 hours, 41 minutes. So I feel like if you're talking about just drive time, if you're talking about teams that definitely did not benefit from the assignments this year, I think Superior falls in that category. Well, Steve, we're gonna. I know we say there's no off season now, but it is the off season for the coin. We got to save that excitement for the fall. So all right, you got it. Let me pull up my document here. Got 85 tabs opened up right now.
Well, I can go first. Do you want me to go first on this regional?
I got Hudson and Menominee.
Okay, all right. I was gonna go. You know what? Let's go Hudson, River Falls, and my wild card pick is Regis Altoona.
Let's go.
There you go.
And then you want to go first on the other regional?
Yeah, I'm not picking against Marshfield. I know that, Teague. And you know what? I think I'm going to take a DC Everest program that's just tough as nails as well. So once again, this was without any research, but I'm going Marshfield, DC Everest.
All right, I'm also going Marshfield, and then I'm going to go with Wausau West in this one. Just a team that last year they returned 3 starters, and then they ended up getting 3rd in their regional. I just think with more returners coming back this year, hopefully I'm not wrong on that. I haven't done too deep of a dive, but yeah, I'm going to take Marshfield and Wausau West. Which,
big numbers in that program, always.
If that shakes out, that's a lot of fun tradition there for that team sectional. D1 Sectional B. Doug, the floor is yours, man.
All right. So last year we had the Wausau schools go over with the Green Bay schools. This time it's the Green Bay schools and the Fox Valley schools, which is a little more traditional. So Regional 1 was Ashwaubenon, Bayport, De Pere, Green Bay Preble, Green Bay United, Pulaski, Shawano, and West De Pere. And then Regional 2 is Appleton East, Appleton North, Appleton West, Hortonville, Kaukauna, Kimberly, Menasha, Neenah. So no teams that switch divisions or anything like that, just a shuffle of the sectional because it was with Wausau last year.
So I know things were different last year. Everyone got shifted east essentially. But I feel like that grouping, that Green Bay grouping, I feel like that group of 8 schools has to be one of the longest running regionals that stayed consistent. I just can't see how that's changed at all. I might need to go back and check that out.
Right.
I think the only change you'd see in that regional is occasionally Shawano drops down to D2. They're right on the border. They're like the 3rd smallest school in D1. So occasionally they drop. So that would change things a little bit.
So they're another one of those X Factor schools where they can really shake things up once it comes mapping time.
Right.
All right. Well, Steve, you got anything on this one? It seems like it's pretty straightforward. Again, like Doug said, looks a lot like we've seen in more recent years besides last year.
Yep, looks good.
All right. My picks on this one for the regional, I have Bayport and Pulaski.
Yeah, nothing, ditto. That's all I got. So, and Doug, you probably remember this. Many moons ago, I'm going to say 10 years or more, West De Pere used to be a D2 school as well. They were one of those tweeners. But, Teague, I'm going with Bayport and Pulaski.
All right. You got first round for the next picks.
I think Coach Chris is going to be ticked at me for this one, but, Kakana and Nina, not a lot to add. Just two powerful programs in what's going to be a pretty darn good regional.
Yeah, this could be one of those where like maybe I swing it the other way, but we'll give Hortonville a little fuel for the fire here. I'm also, of course, taking Kakana, and I'll take Nina as well. Of course, you can't count out Hortonville, and Kimberly's always one of those fun teams to see what they bring every year. So,
absolutely.
All right, sectional C. So, again, a more familiar sectional that we've seen, like going 2 years ago and beyond, where you have the Madison and La Crosse area schools. Doug, let's hear about the assignments there.
All right, yeah, so the first regional was up with Hudson and Menominee and those guys last year. It's kind of the La Crosse area. Now they're back with kind of the Madison schools like they've been. So regional 1 is Holman, La Crosse Logan, La Crosse Central, Onalaska and Luther, Reedsburg, Sparta, Toma, West Salem, Bangor, and Wisconsin Rapids, Lincoln. And Wisconsin Rapids, Lincoln is kind of a wild card. They kind of go depending on Rhinelander, and they might shift west, or they're really kind of out in no man's land. So this year they're over with the La Crosse schools. Regional 2, you have Baraboo, DeForest, Madison East, Madison Memorial, Madison West, Middleton, Sauk Prairie, Wisconsin Heights, which is a new co-op, and Waunakee.
I think right away, my first observation, not even thinking about the map, but did not think, because I was part of the coaching staff with Holman during the Holman-Sauk Prairie battle days. I never thought I'd see Sauk Prairie like co-op with the team, but does that necessarily mean like Sauk Prairie is struggling for numbers, or could that just mean Wisconsin Heights has a few guys that want to wrestle now?
That'd be my guess. That's typically what happens there is Wisconsin Heights had a few kids that wanted to wrestle, and they didn't want to transfer schools, so they added a co-op, because it really doesn't affect Sauk Prairie any, other than it makes your scheduling for practices a little more difficult because you got to wait for kids from another school.
Mm-hmm.
And Teague, this was way before your time, but Wisconsin Heights in the early 2000s was a pretty darn good program. I know I think it was 2002, 2003, they were conference champions. Obviously Kyle Reeve, different names on there. But just a great program. I'm just excited to see. I hope it's a step in that they're trying to get their program back on the map as an individual team and not a co-op.
Yeah.
Well, Steve, I mean, right away with this one, I think I almost had headaches just thinking about this one without looking at returning lineups. I think this could be I love the top two teams qualifying, because if you have a 3 or 4 team race, it just ups the ante that much more. You can't count out West Salem Bangor, but I really think Rapids, they still have a good part of their nucleus back. Holman, you can never really count out. And then Reedsburg, I know they're losing a few state qualifiers, but coming fresh off of their first team state appearance, their program has to be riding pretty high. And I know they do good things with their youth program. So I guess with my picks on this one, my way too early picks, I'm going to maybe take a little homer pick. I'm going to go with Holman. And then I'm gonna take Reedsburg, making it back to team sectionals here.
Man, wow, yeah, I'm gonna. You guys were talking about Rapids, and I just think they're the team that everybody sweats. Like, which way are they going when the regional assignments are coming out? And, oh, crap, they're coming our way again. I'm going with Rapids, and it's not a homer pick for me, but just seeing what they're doing consistently, I got to go with Holman as well.
All right, you got a first round on these next picks here.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I was just kind of cruising over looking. I'm going to go Wanakee. And, man, oh, man, let's go the Boo. I'm going to go with Wanakee and Baraboo.
Well, Steve, we don't have the same picks with this one. So Baraboo and Sauk Prairie were pretty close last year in its standings. I got Sauk Prairie with this one. But then Wanakee, very young team last year. I believe they did make team sectionals, but lost to Stoughton, I want to say. I might be wrong with that one. But I think once you make team sectionals, you're not really sneaking up on anyone. I'm taking Sauk Prairie and Wanakee here. With Baraboo, they're going to make things exciting.
Good picks.
All right, sectional D, Doug. I feel once we get to sectional D, this is where all the madness begins.
That's right.
Well, like there's already a lot of madness, but I feel like things get shaken up so much from D through H every year, or D through G more specifically.
Well, and there's so many schools in that southeast part of the state that they can really move things around quite a bit. But yeah, it's interesting to see how all of these schools fall. They're all have been in D1 forever. It's just a matter of how the WI mixes them up each year. But Regional 1, you have Beaver Dam, Wayland, Fond du Lac, Hartford, Oconomowoc, Oshkosh North, Oshkosh West, Slinger, and Watertown. And I forgot to look back. I don't know. This might be the first time Oconomowoc has come north like that I'm aware of. So that's an interesting one. And then Regional 2 is Cedarburg, Germantown, Manitowoc, Lincoln, Fort Washington, Sheboygan North and South, and West Bend East and West, the connected high schools.
I love that. I love hearing about that every time. All right, I'm getting my map pulled up here. I feel like, again, no matter what sectional it is, a lot of these teams are familiar with each other, at least in the regional. I do like Oconomowoc and Germantown in the same sectional. I think that could maybe shake out to be fun by the end of the year. And these are all teams, Steve. I think you just know a lot of good individual wrestlers, or you're more familiar with the tradition of these teams where without research, you look at it, you're like, man, this is just going to be fun. Like you're for sure going to have a lot of good individual talent come out of this one.
Agreed.
I got picks first here. Looking here at Regional 1, I went with Oconomowoc and Watertown, two teams that had a heated regional last year. Watertown came out on top. I don't think Oconomowoc's missing the mark here. I think they're going to qualify through. And Beaver Dam, Gabe Klatt's coming back, man. I think that's a huge addition to the team again. So keep an eye out for them.
I'm sorry. Who did you took Oconomowoc and Watertown?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going with Oconomowoc, and you said it. Gabe Klatt's coming back, so I'm taking Beaver Dam as my top two. So, and right away over to Regional 2, I'm picking. Can you see my shirt, T?
Oh yeah, you got to take them if you're wearing a Germantown shirt.
You know, I just threw it on. It was on the top of the pile, but taking a look at it. I'm going to go with Germantown. Hard to pick against West Bend West. You know what they bring. They're going to score a lot of points. But so is Port Washington. They're my number 2.
Germantown and Port Washington. Love it. I have in this one Germantown. And, Steve, this is the year. I think I almost want to lock it in. We know they have the studs. Is this the year that they can get the numbers to build around them? I'm taking West Bend West to join Germantown.
There you go. I knew you would.
And we can't go through with this sectional without bringing up Oshkosh West, who I know qualified for team sectionals 2 years ago. I forgot what they did last year, but again, just another one of those fun, potentially wide open regionals. And just a fun sectional all around. All right, Doug, sectional E, midway through D1.
All right, so this is a pretty standard one with the teams from that southern side of Madison combining with the Janesville area. So this one's pretty common. You've got Fort Atkinson, Madison La Follette, Monona Grove McFarland, Mount Horeb Barneveld, Oregon, Stoughton, Sun Prairie East and West, and then Verona. And then on Regional 2, you have Badger, Beloit Memorial, Elkhorn, Janesville Craig, Janesville Parker, Kettle Moraine, Milton, and McGuanago. And my spreadsheet got messed up a little bit on my predictions because I was hearing that Sun Prairie East and West were going to split up this year. But looks like they're staying co-op for a while.
That would have been interesting because they'd still both be D1, right?
Yeah,
good. 100%.
Also, I noticed I just kind of had a light bulb moment here. I feel like I wonder what the swing is. It seems like that last team in that first regional, it's either fourth, but sometimes Watertown gets thrown in that one. Watertown's even been in sectional C sometimes, so
yeah.
It's always interesting to see the changes that cause that, because Fort Atkinson sometimes don't they go sectional H if they're not in this one, right?
Yeah, last year they did. They were all the way down with Watertown, Burlington, that area.
Well, Steve, I guess we got picks here. Sorry, folks, I have like 18 tabs up. This is like a record amount of tabs that I have going for one podcast right now. I'm going to take the Sun Prairie Co-op, and then I'm going to roll with Stoughton. Until Stoughton doesn't make it a team sectionals, I think I just need to keep picking them to make it.
100% agreed. Until somebody knocks them off, I'm picking Stoughton. Although someone could knock them off this year. And Teague, call it a homer pick. You made it before. Fort Atkinson knocks off Sun Prairie United by 1.5 to go to, I believe, its first ever team sectional.
You locking that in the fall?
Well, it's not locked in. This is without research, remember. But
fair. All right.
We're going to have some good numbers, so that's it's a numbers game, right?
Love it. All right, sectional F here, Doug.
All right.
Oh, wait. Are we just locking? Are we both locking in our Milton McGuanago picks right away?
No, I didn't even mean to. All right, yeah, you just wanted. Steve picked Milton McGuanago.
I'll say this. You and I will both lock in Milton McGuanago, but I will say this, and I've told this to people, not on podcasts, everybody I talk to, it would not surprise me if Janesville Parker knocks one of those two teams off to go to team sectional. They are a team on the rise, and they got some studs there in that lineup.
So I'll give a little bulletin board material to Janesville Parker here. I was going through all like the teams, and I'm like, man, this could be a fun battle. And then I got to Milton McGuanago. I'm like, all right, I have my two teams. So that's hey, we'll be keeping an eye on Janesville Parker then. All right, Doug, floor is yours for sectional F.
All right, sectional F. You have Regional 1, Arrowhead, my alma mater, Brookfield Central, and then that school on the other side of the tracks, Brookfield East. I guess I got to mention them. Hamilton, Pewaukee, Waukesha North, Waukesha South, and Waukesha West. And then Regional 2, you have Marquette, Menominee Falls, Milwaukee Lutheran, Milwaukee Madison Vincent, and then the new team that's back after a little hiatus, Milwaukee Marshall and Carmen Northwest. And then Milwaukee Washington, Fuller School of Languages, Obama CTE, so that's a big co-op. The Wauwatosa East-West Co-op, and Wisconsin Lutheran.
First and foremost, did I just hear Brookfield East slander on the Wisconsin Wrestler podcast?
You absolutely did. Those dirty, rotten Spartans.
Man, what's the beef with Beast here, Doug?
Well,
I'm
he's
a
a Central.
Brookfield Central grad. We're crosstown rivals.
Oh, there it is. I thought you were doing it just to spite me. I'm like, whoa. Like, now it's just getting personal on the show. But no, that makes a lot more sense.
No. I got
So
slammed
Doug-
on my head my senior year and taken off on a stretcher against Brookfield East.
Wow.
Wow. Doug, obviously, I know you well. Got to keep it clean and viewer friendly. But so you're from Central. What's your view of East and the people from East? What's their, Freedom Wrightstown, right? They called us a bunch of hicks, and we called them. I won't tell you what we called them. But so what does Central call the East guys, and what does East guys call the Central guys traditionally?
There weren't any specific names, and most of the names that were called would not be appropriate on the podcast. So it's not good. But I besides me getting slammed my senior year and getting taken off on a stretcher, an interesting side note with a name you might recognize. That dual meet came down to the heavyweight match. Brookfield East heavyweight was John Mirasola,
Oh, wow.
Oh.
which you might know his two boys.
I'm somewhat familiar with them.
John slammed the Brookfield Central heavyweight and got disqualified, and Central won the dual meet because I won on a disqualification and our heavyweight won on a disqualification.
Wow.
Interesting.
So John Mirasola, I was not there to see the slam because I was in the hospital.
Oh, man. Good stuff. But I want to bring up geographically, when it comes to changes in these assignments, I feel like a new team being D1 has to be one of like the biggest geographical rarities that changes up this map.
Yeah, there was only 2 new schools in D1 this year. Regis that moved up, and then this Milwaukee Marshall Co-op. So those were the only new ones this year.
All right, I'm going to head to my picks here. First one, I'm taking Arrowhead, and then I'm stuck between Waukesha West and Pewaukee because Pewaukee, another team that's not fun to count out. But I think Waukesha West, I just talked to their coach a little bit at Team State last year, and they have a really good thing going with numbers. Obviously, that's starting to turn into more success on the mat. So I'm going to roll with Waukesha West joining Arrowhead.
Yeah, agreed. Arrowhead and Teague, I'm going to call it here. If there's a team I think that's going to challenge Kaukauna this year, it's definitely Arrowhead. And then really like the Waukesha Triumvirate and what they do. We talked about them a while, or we've talked about them numerous times. Just great wrestling happening in Waukesha, but I'm going to go with West as my second team. And rolling over there to Regional 2, I don't know, Teague. Let's go with Lutheran. Let's go with Lutheran. Lutheran squared. I'm sorry. Wisconsin Lutheran and Wauwatosa West East are my top 2 picks.
See, I also have Wauwatosa, but I have Menominee Falls as my second team.
Okay. Yep. I probably slipped in there. Nice job. Way to go.
All right, Doug. Sectional G.
All right, Sectional G. Regional 1, you have Brown Deer, Messmer, Shorewood, Homestead, Milwaukee Bayview, Conservatory of Lifelong Learning, and Milwaukee South. You have the co-op of Bradley Tech, Carmen South, Milwaukee Arts, and Milwaukee Juneau. Then you have Milwaukee King, the co-op of Milwaukee Riverside and Golda Meir, Nicolay, and Whitefish Bay. Regional 2, you have the co-op of Cudahy, St. Francis, St. Thomas More, Franklin, Greenfield, Milwaukee Hamilton, Audubon, Milwaukee Pulaski, Carmen Southeast, Milwaukee Ronald Reagan, Salam, that's a new co-op, Oak Creek, and South Milwaukee.
All right, right away, I'm just going to ask the question because we had a little conversation on the post earlier when we said we were going live. Like some of the coaches were just talking. Obviously, there's going to be like disparities in regionals and sectionals and whatnot. And one of the coaches brought up the point of they would like to see the Milwaukee schools spread out a little more among regionals and sectionals. And not even concerning the Milwaukee schools necessarily. I do think spreading them out probably entails this. But obviously, the goal of the WIA is to have it as geographically good as possible, which when you look at Division I, it's a pretty nail on the head, I would say. But when it comes to Division I, especially in the Southeast, where all the distances are so close, do you think that's a point where you could maybe draw an arbitrary line and look at teams, like if you look at returning starters, what they did last year, and you maybe try to split up teams that you think could have the most success? And I don't know, like just throwing out a thought there where maybe you make it where it's not as geometrically or geographically like astute, but you make it so you try to get the best teams through from that area. I just want to hear your guys' thoughts on that.
It would be interesting if someone took the time to do it, because if you look at your map, there is 20 plus schools in a very small geographic area. So it's definitely possible if someone wanted to take the time to do it.
And I just think like drive-wise, like last year, Oconomowoc, a team that finished third in the regionals, I think they were considered one of the better teams in Division I. I'm guessing they wouldn't have any complaints if they know they're driving 30 minutes further, but they have a better shot of making it to the next point.
Right.
So, yeah, it's something I've been thinking about, and I think one of the things there is then where do you draw the line? Then once you get to Division 2, 3, do you have a really good team? Like, would a really good team want to drive 3 hours as opposed to 1 hour? So, yeah, it's a fun question to ponder on. Will we ever have the answer? Probably not, but yeah.
Probably not. No.
So this sectional also had a couple of co-ops that changed. Whitefish Bay is alone now. They used to have Dominican and University School as part of their team. And then the Bayview team dropped St. Anthony. So a couple of changes in co-ops in this sectional.
And then, oh no, I was thinking about another sectional there where I saw a co-op change. I guess picks in this one, I'm going with Homestead, and then no disrespect to the rig here, to the Nicolay boys, but maybe a little bit of a surprise pick, but I really liked what the product that Brown Deere put on the mat, 2 state qualifiers, and I think they do have a good coaching staff as well. They're getting the numbers built, and I think this is the year we see them break through.
Wow. Holy cow. Even with Coach Ott on, watching live, Teague's picking against him.
Hey, that was Coach Gus.
Is he on too?
No, Coach. Oh, wait, Ott's watching right now?
Yeah, so Teague, Jeremy, I know that Teague would never pick against you guys if you were standing right in front of him.
No, I did it. I just did it, I guess.
I'm going with Nicolay and Homestead. Those are my picks, and switching right over to Regional 2 for me. I don't think there's any, the 1-2 I think are pretty clear cut. These two teams know each other, conference rivals. I got to watch these two teams duel in person. I got to call the action. It was fantastic, and no particular order. I'm going Franklin and Oak Creek.
I concur.
Coach Ott said that you're dead. Oh no, I'm sorry. He said he'll take the challenge.
Oh, okay. I would have accepted either one.
Yeah, he said you better not find him in an alley sometime, or you're dead meat.
I love it. All right, sectional H here. Last Division 1 is sectional, Doug.
Wait, hold on. Did you pick Franklin and Oak Creek as well? Did you say agree?
Oh yeah, sorry. I said I concur.
Oh, concur. Gotcha. I missed that. I was reading the insults at you.
All right. Sectional H. Regional 1, you have Burlington, Muskego, New Berlin West, and Eisenhower. That's another one I heard rumored was going to split, but didn't. Union Grove, Waterford, West Dallas Central, West Dallas Hale, and then Whitendale, Whitnall and Greendale. Then Kenosha Bradford, Kenosha Indian Trail, Kenosha Tremper, Racine Case, Racine Park Horlick, Racine St. Catherine, Racine Lutheran, Westosha Central, and Wilmot. And I think the Racine St. Catherine co-op dropped a school from their co-op also.
They dropped Catholic Central, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Catholic Central joined, it might have been Catholic Memorial. Once I get the D2 sheet pulled up, we'll see. But,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, that sounds right.
All right, this is another one hard to converse on when it comes to any controversy or whatever. But, it seems this is another one that's, mostly cut and dry. So I don't have much to say on that one. I guess Southeast, you can do a lot of fun things with it because you kind of see a few teams, like whether it be Elkhorn or Badger, they're kind of in sectional H sometimes. So I guess it's just the way things shook out this year. But yeah, like most of these, pretty geographically sound, I would say.
Well, if that New Berlin West and Eisenhower did ever split up, which was rumored, they would both be D2.
Oh, that would really shake things up.
Yes, that would move
That
a
would
lot
push
of
a couple teams up.
All right,
Yep.
Steve. I got a first pick here. I'm going to, speaking of New Berlin, I am taking the New Berlin Co-op, and then I'm going to roll with Team State semifinalist from last year, Muskego.
Nice. You're picking against Burlington. Wow. Nice. Okay. I'm going to take the first two listed there. But I'm going Burlington, Muskego, no particular order. I'm going to text Coach Jade Gribble right now and get another guy angry at you.
I'm not making any friends with this one.
You are not. You're not. Well, I mean, depends on who you're talking to, right?
Fair.
Teague, I was hoping you'd go first in Regional 2. I don't really. I'm just going to throw this out. I know we had Coach on the podcast last year for the regional sectional preview. I'm going to go with Kenosha Indian Trail. And then let's go with Wilmot Union.
All right. I have, another same one here. I also got Wilmot Union and also going with Kenosha Indian Trail. Kenosha Indian Trail coaches, the first coaches that we did a live sectional preview with.
That's great. Yeah, that's right.
I just still laugh at that story because that was like Joey shared. He made a post for us, which was awesome. And he's like, going live tomorrow at 7. I'm like, well, it looks like we are going live. And you know what? I had an amazing time with it. It was awesome.
That was fun.
All right, that's what we got for a Division 1. Moving on to a Division 2, Doug, which you have a little vested interest in, I'm guessing.
I do have a vested interest in Division 2. And Division 2, there are 8 new teams in Division 2 this year. So a lot of changes. There were 2 schools that fell from D1. Kettle Moraine Lutheran is back as a varsity program. And then 5 schools moved up from D3 up to D2, mostly because of new co-ops. So a lot of movement in D2 this year.
All right, Sectional A.
Sectional A, we have Amory, Baldwin Woodville, Chautauqua Weyerhaeuser Prairie Farm, Ellsworth, Hayward Northwood, Luck Frederick Grantsburg Siren, Northwestern, Osceola, Prescott, Rice Lake, St. Croix Central, St. Croix Falls, Somerset, and Spooner Webster. And then Regional 2, you have Abbotsford Colby, Ashland, Bloomer Colfax, McDonald Catholic, Elk Mound, Medford, Mondovi Strum, Mosinee, Neilsville, Greenwood and Loyal, Osseo Fairchild, Augusta Fall Creek, Rhinelander, Spencer, Columbus Catholic and Granton, Stanley Boyd, and Tomahawk. So in this sectional, you have Rhinelander that came down from D1. You have Hayward that came down from D1. Or no, Rhinelander's not in this one. Sorry. Haywood came down. McDonald Catholic added Elk Mound, so they moved up. So 2 new schools in this sectional.
Oh, did I mess up on my map? Because I have Rhinelander in this sectional too.
Oh, no. Yep. No, sorry.
It's Rhinelanders in this one. Antigo's moved over.
Yes. Yep. Sorry.
So we have William Defoe, friend of the show, commented. Also, William Defoe, not Willem, the guy who played Green Goblin and Spider-Man. He commented about if you look on the map, it's I was interested by this right away. Northwestern and Ashland, again, in another scenario where it's just almost a no-win situation no matter what. But Northwestern is in that West Regional, Ashland in that East Regional. And again, you wonder, is it one of those situations where you could take a Shatek. Shatek would probably be the best option and move them east so Ashland doesn't have to drive as far. But Tomahawk's hosting, so I think that's the one thing Ashland has going for them here. That's the one answer that I would say I have for what William was pondering. But yeah, that was one of those I had some questions on right away too. But I do want to say I am really excited to see both the St. Croix schools in the same regional. And I also do think, it's going to be evidence. I'll just jump right into it. I think Hayward moving down to D2 is going to shake things up quite a bit, and that they're going to be one of my team sectional qualifiers, which the fact, if I'm choosing Hayward here, you can't forget about Amory still. A Baldwin who qualified for state last year out of this sectional.
Yep.
Ellsworth, who is just never truly gone away, and they're just getting better. And then the St. Croix schools as well. This super regional, I thought it was great last year, and I think it somehow got even tougher. And going along with my dark horse Hayward pick, I'm going to take St. Croix Falls as my second regional team, my way too early pick.
Yeah, that's good. Teague, that was excellent analysis. I was impressed with how you laid that out. You couldn't have said it better. And Teague, I know you're going to call it a homer pick on this one because you think I got a bro crush with these guys. But St. Croix Falls is doing some good stuff, so they're my team. And Baldwin Woodville, until it's kind of the Stoughton thing that we said before. Until somebody knocks them off, I'm going to still go with them. So those are my top 2. But like I said, excellent analysis with what you said before. In Regional 2, I know I'm going first, Teague, and I'm really just flipping a coin here. This is a wide open regional. It's going to be tough for either one of these teams that qualify and who they're going to face over there on Regional 1 side. But, oh, man, Teague, what do you do here, huh? Let's go with the traditional NGL pick for it. And can I just pick one?
Nope. Let's hear that second one, man.
All right. It's funny because I think, wasn't I big on Bloomer Colfax last year, being a young team and coming up? I can't remember, Teague. Help me out so I don't sound foolish. But were they the team that we're talking about being on the rise?
We said a lot of good things about Spooner Webster last year, I remember. Bloomer, I can't remember as much. But, Steve, I think just the consternation on this way too early pick shows how wide open this super regional is going to be. But I can't say anything until you make your second pick.
Well, I tell you what. Let's go with Stanley Boyd.
The Orioles. Love it.
Yep.
I got I'm rolling with a team that's not usually in the sectional. I'm going to take Tomahawk, and I'm going away from Neilsville because I think their window might have closed. And I'm taking Medford, the team that kind of shocked the state last year and made it. They're making a return trip to team sectionals this year.
Nice.
Also, if Neilsville makes it, saying that their window closed is going to be a soundbite somewhere.
There is, man. Oh,
All
that's
right.
always fun when we end up on Instagram posts as sound bites.
Sectional of B.
All right, sectional B. So the newbies in this sectional, Menominee Indian moved up from D3. Crivets added Wasaki and moved up from D3. And then Wittenberg-Burnhamwood moved up from D3. So that made some of the changes in this Northeast sectional because you had 3 teams move in. So Regional 1, you have Amherst, Anago, Clintonville, Crivets, Wasaki, Freedom, Marinette, Menominee Indian, New London, O'Connell Falls, Peshtigo, Seymour, Wapaka, and Wittenberg-Burnhamwood. And Regional 2, you have Brillion, Chilton Hilbert, Denmark, Elkhart Lake, Glenbeulah, Howards Grove, Fox Valley Lutheran, Kiel, Little Chute, Luxembourg Casco, Sturgeon Bay Sevastopol, Two Rivers, Winneconne, Wrightstown, and Xavier.
All right. This one, I mean, I think we'll probably unpack it a little more in the fall, but just, again, another, especially in Regional 2, just another barn burner that we get treated to here. It's, I think the first thing that really jumped out to me, seeing Winneconne make the move back up north. But I think in terms of being geographically sound, that this one definitely makes sense this year. And Doug, it's so funny seeing your team on that cut line every year, man. You guys bounce around a lot. I don't know if you're in the same. I think you and Winneconne, and there might be a couple more schools now, but you have to be one of the only D2, D3 schools, and correct me if I'm wrong, but like in the last 10 years, you've been in 3 different sectionals, right?
Yes.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Well, Winneconne moves. Berlin and Ripon have moved around quite a bit. Watoma's moved around quite a bit. All the teams kind of in that central section have gone a lot of different directions.
Steve, you got anything on this one since it's hailing from the home region here?
Yeah, no, I mean, I thought you were going to ask me for my picks. I said this before about Wisconsin Heights. It's good to see Wasaki. I think this is the first time. I don't remember them ever. I know there used to be a big basketball school back when I was in high school. Hopefully, anytime I see a team get on the map like that as a co-op, I would hope that the intent is eventually they're trying to grow a program that, they're an individual school. I can't say for sure, but like you said, it's nice to see a new name, a new town with wrestling. So, go ahead, Teague. What do you got?
I also want to say, too, before we get into our picks, I think this sectional with the changes is going to be the one that shakes up girls' brackets the most, especially with numbers growing. I think we're going to see fewer additional qualifiers, but Antigo coming in, and I don't think Alex graduated. I'm just going to double-check my work here. Alex was a senior, but still Olivia Hoffrichter coming in is going to make things really interesting because those weight classes last year were pretty loaded there. So that means there could potentially be a really good wrestler that doesn't make it out of that sectional with Hoffrichter moving into that one. My picks for Regional 1. I went a little traditional here, Steve. I know we said a lot of good things about Peshtigo last year, but maybe this is just like a safety pick. It's like a comfort pick, but I'm rolling with Freedom and O'Connell Falls.
Oh, really? Okay. And Tony Schaff, I saw just was on. Tony, just so you know, these are way too early unresearched picks, so don't go crazy when I make them and call me an idiot or you've called me worse. But Teague, can you research this while I'm making my picks for this? How many girls state champs came out of this particular sectional? Because it was loaded last year when I was watching it. But Freedom is my number one pick. And you said O'Connell Falls. I'm going to go either New London or Peshtigo. I'm going to go New London.
All right, you got the floor for the second round.
Oh yeah, I should have switched over here. Well, Luxembourg Casco is only getting better, so that's my clear-cut number one. Brilliant Denmark, Wrightstown, Winneconne, those are all really good programs. Obviously, just so many tough individuals in there. But I'm going to take. Let's go with Denmark. Let's go with the Vikings.
All right, I got, speaking of Luxembourg, we got Melissa on. Melissa, thank you again for the Dippin' Dots last year. Just giving a little shout out to Luxembourg Casco. My picks for Regional 2. So I got a battle between a couple of W schools, and I'm gonna earn the hearts of the Wrightstown folk. I'm gonna take Wrightstown, and then Steve. Of course, I'm taking Luxembourg Casco because I'm calling it right now. They're going to be the D2 team state champs next year.
Yeah.
So I can't pick them. I have to pick them here.
Yeah. Thanks for making that pick because I'm not welcome back in Wrightstown, so you might as well be, right?
All right, Division 2, Sectional C.
Oh. Hold on, Teague. Did you research that? Did you find out how many girls state champs came out of that?
I think I just caught one, but there was a lot of girls from Northeast Wisconsin.
Gotcha. Okay.
I caught Bianchi right away, and Haley Krieger also made it. Sorry, not Bianchi. Taylor Whiting. Taylor Whiting and Haley Krieger. Yep.
Okay, just two.
All right, Doug, D2 with Sectional C.
All right, Sectional C and D were crazy last year. The way the WI split them up last year was nuts. I was in Sectional C last year, and it was basically, instead of Northwest and Northeast, there was a Central and a Southern. And in case anyone didn't notice last year, Sectional C had 7 state champions in it. So that was an interesting sectional to be in last year. So now we're back to kind of normal, and there aren't really any new D2 schools in this sectional that I could find. We have in Regional 1, Adams Friendship, Arcadia, Berlin, Black River Falls, GET, Melrose Mindoro, Mauston Necedah, Nakusa, Assumption, Port Edwards, and I think Port Edwards is new to that co-op, Prairie du Chien, Richland Center, River Valley, Viroqua, Watoma Wild Rose, and Wisconsin Dells. And then Regional 2 is Belleville, Monticello, New Glarus, Belmont, Platteville, Broadhead, Judah, Columbus, Cuba City, Benton, Southwestern, Darlington, Blackhawk, Dodgeville, Edgerton, Evansville, Lodi, Monroe, Portage, and Fall River, Randolph, which had a couple other schools in that co-op last year. They dropped 2 of the 4 schools from that co-op.
Who'd they drop, Doug? Do you remember offhand?
Yeah, give me just a sec. It was Cambria, Friesland, and Rio were also in that.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out all the shakeups that happened there because I think we see one of those teams in Division 3, but I could be wrong. Yeah, I had to try and sort that out for a little bit. Just a funny story here, and I'm really sorry, Cody, because you're a new dad. Congratulations, by the way. Or dad again, I should say. But we got to experience what Cody called dad brain because I asked Cody first. I said, on the WIAA site, it just says River Randolph. And I sent him a picture of it, and I was like, hey, what does river mean here? And he was like, River Falls, I think. And then I got the answer from Doug. And I was like, well, it's actually Fall River, but I do love the thought of the River Falls Randolph Co-op. And yeah, it was a funny story, Cody. I apologize for bringing it up, but no, that was it made my day. It happens to the best of us, man.
Could you imagine River Falls going into that sectional?
It'd be the talk of the town, I think. All right, my picks on this one. I have on sectional A, for regional A, I'm going with Prairie du Chien and Melman GET.
Yeah, same thing. PDC is one of those teams that I just watching what they're doing. They're just getting better and better and better. So those are my same thing. Teague, nothing to add there. And moving over, I really like a strong up and coming Portage team. Love what coach is doing over there. But until somebody knocks these two off, Evansville's only getting better, and Lodi is not going anywhere. So those are my top two.
All right, yeah, well, we're pretty chalk all around here, as I'm also going with the Lodi and Evansville in this one. And I'm really sorry to pour it on. This is trivia, but I hate to pour it on Lodi here. Of those 4 teams, Lodi has the longest team state drought right now, which is crazy to think about. And they've had some really good teams the last few years. I mean, they've had really good teams like every year, let's be real. But yeah, with Evansville and PDC making it last year, and then Melman GET a couple years ago. That's crazy to think about, but we'll talk more about if Lodi can break that streak in the fall.
Teague, you're throwing a lot of salt in the wounds of some very large coaches on this podcast.
Guys that could crush my head. Yes, yeah, I've understood that. I'm not leaving my home for a while. I want to bring up, we had a comment on Rockfin here. I hope he's still on here, but Doug, Dale Label saying, sorry if it's Lobel, Dale. It's been a minute since we chatted, but he just wanted to say that you look amazing for your age.
Thanks, Dale. Dale and I did battle back in the day also.
Was Dale a Brookfield guy too?
Yeah.
No, Dale went to Muskego.
Oh.
So
it is Lobo, yep.
Yep. He beat me at regionals pretty bad, and then I got him at sectionals. I got to go to state. He didn't. So I got revenge the next week. But Dale was an outstanding wrestler from Muskego.
Doug, you got a who's who of Wisconsin wrestling folks from the years that you wrestled. I love it, man.
Yeah, been around a long time.
All right, we got, do we have sectional D next year?
We do.
All right, D.
All right.
So sectional D, we added, KML has their program back. They ran a JV schedule last year, and it sounds like they have some really good numbers over there and are back on varsity. And then St. John's Military added Chesterton and University Lake School. So they're back up in Division II again. So a couple of new schools in D2 in this sectional. So regional one.
Wait, who was the first one you said, Doug? I missed that.
The first one
Doug,
was.
who was the first team you said?
Kettle Moraine Lutheran.
Oh,
So
gotcha.
They haven't had a team for a few years. It's been about 5 years, I think, since they had a team, and then they ran a JV program last year, and now they're back on varsity. So, and it's like I said, sounds like they grew very rapidly. They had some really good numbers last year.
Good.
All right, Regional 1, we have Campbellsport, Grafton, Kettle Moraine Lutheran, Kewaskum, Lake Country Lutheran, Mayville, North Fond Du St. Mary Springs, Plymouth, Ripon, Sheboygan Falls, St. John's Northwestern Military, Chesterton, and University Lake School Co-op, Watertown Luther Prep, and Waupun. And then Regional 2 is Bigfoot Williams Bay, Catholic Memorial, Clinton, Delavendarian, East Troy, Jefferson, Lake Mills, Lakeside Lutheran, Martin Luther, Pius, Shoreland Lutheran, Turner, and Whitewater. And I just want to thank the WIA for going back to a geographical sectional.
Oh, it's interesting, Doug. I didn't even think about this until you brought it up, but Kettle Moraine Lutheran and St. John's being added back, those were things that would not fall in your favor in terms of having you in Sectional D, I feel like. But I feel like last year was just such a big change that maybe this is just the more normal setup that we see.
Well, and the other part of that equation, Amro, who's been with us quite often, fell to D3 with the changes. And Lemira also fell to D3. They traditionally are in this sectional. So Lemira is now a D3 school.
Yeah, that's going to be a fun one. I'm excited to talk about that one. Yeah, and Sectional D, aside from those new schools, yeah, like you said, Doug, pretty geographically sound in this one. And with Evansville leaving, I think it means we are guaranteed we're going to see a new face at Team State no matter what this year. I don't think there's any returning Yeah. Yep. Okay. I just had to go through the map in my head. But, yeah, we're going to see a new face at Team State. And I guess with predictions, two of those teams that I think are going to get one closer to that next step. I'm going with Campbellsport and another team that's, again, not sneaking up on anyone this year. I'm going to take Kewaskum as my second team.
Good picks, Teague. I'm going Kewaskum as my number one, and I'm going just a little bit different from you. I'm going to go with Plymouth. If Plymouth can fill all the weight classes, they're going to team sectional. A little different on that.
Love it, man. Yes.
So
Coach Cribb is going to be jacked up when he hears it, man.
Yeah, I was texting with him a little bit, pumping him up when I saw the assignments come out. So that was a good time. It doesn't take a lot to get him pumped up. So, hey, I am gonna go with Regional 2. You know, the sun rises in the east and sets in the west, and Whitewater will qualify for team sectional. But here, Teague, you ready for this? I'm gonna call it. Here's my long shot pick, but I think they got some good things going, and that's Jefferson. Jefferson's going to qualify for team sectionals this year.
Let's go. I also have a Whitewater in this one, and again, maybe just going with a comfort pick here, but I'm going to take a Delavendarian as my second team. And East Troy, again, another team that's perpetually in that talk for making it to team sectionals. And at Martin Luther, I haven't seen their returning numbers, but Steve, I feel like once you make team sectionals once, you're on our radar, so it'll be interesting to see what they bring back as well.
Yeah, Martin Luther is definitely playing the numbers game, and now they're adding a lot of quality wrestlers with that program as well. So they're building it up from they built it up from ground up, right?
All right, last division here, a Division 3.
All right, Division 3 Sectional A. The big change in this one is Barron dropped down to D3. So they've been D2 for a long time that I can remember. So they're down in D3 now. So Regional 1, you have Barron, Bayfield, Bruce, Cameron, Quamagon, Cumberland, Flambeau, Ladysmith, Phillips, Shell Lake, Turtle Lake, Clayton, Unity, Washburn. Regional 2, you have Athens, Auburndale, Boyceville, Cadott, Clear Lake, Cornell, Gilman, Lake Holcomb, Durand, Arkansas, Edgar, Glenwood City, Marathon, Spring Valley, Elmwood, Stratford, and Thorpe, Owen, Withee.
Oh, I was looking something up here real quick.
Yeah, no worries. I was just.
Steve, if you want to take the floor first on this one, I'll chime in here in a second.
Okay. Yeah. I wish I had something intelligent to say. I just look at that Northwest sectional, man, the miles they travel. But I will tell you this: the always some tough sons of a guns. I think if we did a look at how many 4-time state champs came from Division III Northwestern sectional, there's quite a few. Those guys definitely chew on nails up there for practice because they're just tough kids. I'll pick first right away, Teague. I'm going to take out of this one in a wide open regional. I'm going to go with Phillips as my first pick, and then I'm going to go with, it would be easy to pick Ladysmith, but I'm going to call this shot. We've been watching this team grow over the last few years, and I'm going to say Turtle Lake Clayton is going to make the team sectional.
I was going to say that they'd be a top 4 team, and that was going to be my shock the world pick. But, Steve, if they can get the number, they had 9 starters last year. They got to put up more numbers at regionals. I'm looking at the standings right now. That's why I went to look at the standings from last year.
This is unresearched. No research. You're cheating right now.
Sorry. I can't help myself. So, hey, one fun thing from the research, though. I know you did pick Phillips. I was going to go with Cumberland again. I know they qualified last year. But my second picks with this one. So Phillips lost the regional battle for second place by 1 point to the team that's going to make it back again to team sectionals, Clear Lake. So a little chalky with my picks, but that's what I'm rolling with.
Wait, you took Clear Lake? Oh, and the second one. You're talking.
Oh, wait. Oh, Clear Lake moved over. Oh, no. All right. Everything's changed now. All right. That's dumb. That's dumb on my part. It's Cumberland and Phillips. Yep. Move along.
So you're taking Clear Lake over in the second regional is what you're saying.
Embarrassingly enough, no. I didn't even have them down on the document. I got caught up. That's my instant karma for researching picks. All right.
There you go.
All right. Anyways, I got to go first here.
Yeah, you're going first.
I'm getting shook. Oh, this one. Well, now I get a chance to make a fun pick with this one. I'm going with the 2 teams that got left out of team sectionals last year. Cadott always has a strong team, and the other team that's going to bump Stratford and Glenwood City out is going to be Marathon.
Yes. Well, I'm going to pick Marathon. No longer are they a sleeper pick for anybody. I think they might even win that regional. And I learned a valuable lesson last year. Teague, this team lost so many wrestlers the year before, and I just counted them out. I'm like, there's no way they're going back to team state. And they did. And that's the Tigers of Stratford. They're going to bounce back. Not just bounce back. They're going to come back and make some noise this year as well.
All right, so you got Marathon and Stratford.
Yep.
All right, Sectional B.
All right, and I forgot to mention there's 6 new schools in D3 this year, all that fell from D2. In this sectional, we have Oostburg and Southern Door both dropped down from D2 and fell into this sectional. So that made some shifting. So Regional 1, you have Bonduel, Coleman, Crandon, Elko, Florence, Lena, Manawa, Oconto, Oneida Nation, Rochelle, Shiocton, Suring-Gillett, and Wabeno, Leona, 3 Lakes. And Regional 2, you have Cedar Grove, Belgium, Kewanee, Lourdes Academy, Valley Christian, Manitowoc Lutheran, Mishicot, New Holstein, Oostburg, Ozaki, Random Lake, Reedsville, St. Lawrence Seminary, Southern Door, Valders, and Winnebago Lutheran.
All right, this is, I don't know if I want to save this for now or Sectional D, but this is where I actually take some issue here. I know we're talking about geographically sound. I guess you could see a fine cut line. But also, why would we take Random Lake and Cedar Grove, Belgium, who were both in team sectionals last year, and make them travel even further up to compete with Coleman and now Shiocton in that team sectional? When I think it helps Sectional D to keep Random Lake and Cedar Grove, Belgium in there. And I kind of look at it, I split Lake Winnebago. That was kind of like my midway point. I was like, how can we get these 4 teams back into Sectional D? And it'd basically be taking 4 other teams and moving them up north, and I still think it'd look geographically sound. So this is one that I'd actually like answers on, because here's how I see it. We want to keep it geographically sound, right? I don't even know if this one's totally geographically acute. And I guess if it's 50-50 on teams traveling, wouldn't you then want to look at how good the teams could be this year and try to spread that out as much as possible? That's just my 2 cents. I'll get off the soapbox if either of you two have any thoughts on it.
Well, it looks like Almond Bancroft and Tri-County are the schools. They're kind of in the southwest corner of this region or sectional. Looks like they're the ones that moved out, and you had Cedar Grove and Reedsville move up, and I got to agree with you, Teague. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me that you would move those 2 schools to the southeast from the northeast.
So essentially what could happen is, and I don't want to get talking too long, we're on like an hour and a half now. You move Random Lake, Ozaki, Oostburg, and Cedar Grove, Belgium. You move them down. Then you could move Horicon, Dodgeland, Waterloo, and Marshall. You could move them also counterclockwise. Then the 4 teams with Tri-County, Almond, like you said, Wyawega, and Omro, they could all be shifted counterclockwise. And then I guess the tough part here would be which 4 teams do you move to fill that other regional spot. Sorry if now we're talking, I got way too into that. But anyways, anyone else have anything else on that? Otherwise, we'll get into picks.
Well, I think part of that shift is because Omro and Lamira fell from D2 down to D3. So they're also both in that southeast region or sectional now. Mm-hmm. And I think because they're both a little more south, Omro, I guess, isn't really, but Lamira is for sure. I think that affected those other schools moving north.
Yeah, I guess if you move, I would say Lamira is one of the tougher teams in Sectional D. So if you move them up, then, how much does that really solve the issue that I'm talking about? But anyways, we could talk about this all night. So predictions. Let me get the document pulled up here. D3 at Sectional B. See, we have a lot of good things to say about Crandon last year. But, man, Coleman and Shiocton in the same regional, that's going to make it, I think, a battle for third, essentially. So those are my 2 teams here.
Yeah, I'm just going clear cut across the board. I'm going to give my top 5. Coleman and Shiocton, I believe, are going to be top 2. Crandon is a very tough outside looking in. And then on the right side, I'm going to go with the familiar foes. Different sectional, but they're going to be battling again. That's Cedar Grove and Random Lake.
All right, I got the same thing on the other side. Cedar Grove and Random Lake. Now, I was on a soapbox for a little bit there. The one positive, we get to see potentially a fun battle of just 2 really good teams that were formerly from Sectional D, and then Coleman and Shiocton. That could be some fun stuff at team sectionals, depending on how this year shakes out. So, yeah, right. And especially we get a Coleman Shiocton rematch. That would be fireworks there. All right, Sectional C.
All right, Sectional C. The only new school I could see in this one was Parkview Albany, fell from D2. Otherwise, everyone else has been in D3 for a while. So Regional 1, you had Aquinas, Blair Taylor, Brookwood, Cashton, Cochrane, Fountain City, Cooley Christian, a school of 54 kids.
Wow.
Hillsboro, Independence, Gilmanton, New Lisbon, Pittsville, Royal, Wanawak Center, Westby, and Whitehall. And Regional 2 is Boscobel, Wazeeka, Steuben, DeSoto, Fenimore, Iowa Grant Highland, Ithaca Weston, Kickapoo Lafarge, and Youth Initiative, Lancaster, Mineral Point, North Crawford, Seneca, Parkview, Albany, Pecatonica, Argyle, River Ridge, and Riverdale.
Well, I just want to give a shout out to Fenimore right away. It's locked in no matter what because of how they've done the last 2 years, but team-wise, they'll be in a Division 2 in 24-25. They already have enough points locked up for the previous 3 years. So that'll be something fun to look at next year. Someone brought up, hey, what would a map look like with Fenimore in D2 and Luxembourg in D1? Maybe that's a project I look into. But this is one of those things I talked about. Division 1 teams willing to travel 30 minutes more. If you're a team like Mineral Point or Iowa Grant Highland per se, would you make a 2-hour longer drive over to another sectional if it meant you had a better shot? Just a little something to ponder, I guess. Yeah.
Throw it on there.
But you know what? You just got to wrestle who's in front of you. So that's what we're going to work with for the assignments. I did see Granton doesn't have a program this year, which, hey, I love that they tried it out. And hopefully we can see them back into action here. But I guess with picks for Regional 1, I'm going to take Aquinas, and just like last year, so Pittsville was the other team that made it out. I'm going to go with the Norsemen here. I'm going to take Westby.
Oh, nice. It's funny you mentioned Cooley Christian with 50-some kids. Yesterday, I was on Washington Island with my wife and daughter, and I was explaining to my youngest daughter how Washington Island has 14 kids in the whole high school and how that works. And it was kind of, it was pretty neat. We drove by the high school and took a look, but no wrestling program yet for Washington Island. That'd be something they can work on, right? Yeah,
Sure.
Aquinas is my first pick. Yeah, with the half-hour ferry ride across the way. Aquinas first pick, and then I'm going to go with Whitehall, Teague. And on the opposite side, you nailed it. I mean, Fenimore. Oh, were you shocked at my pick? Is that what your facial reaction came from, Whitehall?
No, I really, I didn't think about the Whitehall pick. That's a good pick there.
Absolutely. Other side, Fenimore, locked in, right? And then it's going to be the Iowa Grant, Highland, and Mineral Point battle for that next one. Who's got it? I'm not ready to throw fuel on the fire yet, so I'll just pick them both.
Oh, come on. You can't do this now.
All right. Well, I'll take Mineral Point. What the heck? Go opposite of me, T, because you've been picking against big coaches all day long. You don't want to pick against another one.
Oh, I wasn't picking Mineral Point either. I'm taking Iowa Grant Highland, man. Especially they're rolling off a lot of momentum from last year. And then, of course, Fenimore is one of those deals. Until someone knocks them off, it's theirs to lose. So I'm taking Fenimore in this one. I had a question for you, Doug. So because Cooley Christian, I don't know how many. I could type in regionals and Cooley Christian, and I can't remember the last time they participated at a regional. Is it a situation like where they just keep saying they have a wrestling program and like, because I don't even see their team at tournaments. Like, I don't know if they have a JV program or not. Like, how many years can you do that? Because, like, I feel like that shakes up a lot of things if you're going in as a school, but then it also seems unfair that they don't have kids wrestling regionals by the end of the year.
Yeah, I was always, because of some of the Milwaukee schools and some of those programs that have been dropped, I was always under the impression that if you didn't take someone to regionals the next year, you were not listed. So I don't know if it's because they're a small D3 school and maybe they'll have a team and it doesn't really affect anything because if there's an odd number when you split them, you always put the bigger number in D3.
Mm-hmm.
So it wouldn't make it doesn't change anyone from D2 to D3 if they're in or out. So I can't, I guess if I haven't ever looked, I have always been amazed when I do my spreadsheet that they're on there and they have like 52 kids in their school for an enrollment. But I've never actually looked to see if they ever had anyone at regionals. So that's interesting that they haven't had anyone.
I do feel like location-wise that could still shake things up a little bit. And also, if there is someone more in the know, I guess this is a lacrosse area thing. So if there's someone that knows more about the situation than I do, please reach out to me. If there is someone that like is trying to build a program there or whatnot, like let me know and I'll gladly correct myself on that one. But yeah, I'm curious on that situation. All right, sectional D.
All right, sectional D. 2 schools from my conference fell from D2 to D3. Omro and Lamira both dropped down this year and fell in this sectional. And we were already talking about some of the changes here. But Regional 1, you've got Almond, Bancroft, Pacelli, Laconia, Lamira, Marquezan, Montello, Oakfield, Omro, Partyville, Poinet, Princeton, Green Lake, Tri-County, Westfield, and Wyawega, Fremont. And then in Regional 2, you have Cambridge, Catholic Central, Deerfield, Dodgeland, Horicon, Eustisford, Johnson Creek, Kenosha Christian Life, Kenosha St. Joseph Catholic, Living Word Lutheran, Marshall, Palmyra Eagle, and Waterloo.
All right away on this one. I know I went on a little rant earlier. I'm going to reel myself back in. It was a long day at work, and I took it out on D3 sectional D a little bit. I apologize. The positive spin on the changes here is, again, we do get to see another completely new team. I think seeing Lomira on D3 is really exciting as well. And with Random Lake and Cedar Grove gone and Reedsville, that makes things wide open. And we love talking about our wide open sectionals. So with that being said, I
didn't notice Wyowega's down here also.
Yeah.
I can't ever remember them going southeast.
Yeah, I'm looking at the cut lines right now. I'm going to jump way back here. I forgot to bring it up, but when we were talking about D2 Sectional A, man, you look at Regis Altoona, who was the second lowest enrollment team in Division I, and that's one of those where it's like, man, if only we had 25 less kids. Because, they could still compete for sure. I think D2 and Regional A, that could have been theirs for the taking. D2 Regional 2, Sectional A. Yeah. We talked a lot of numbers tonight. I might be losing a little bit over here, folks. But, yeah, I look at the map here. Wyawega, one of the northernmost teams on this one. I'll pull Sectional D back up on my map. All the
teams east of Lake Winnebago had to go north.
That's why you looked at Lake Winnebago basically as the cut line in this one.
Yeah.
But hey, I'm sure as a guy who's competed against them a few times, you're definitely not complaining about Lomira, being down in Division 3.
No, not at all.
All right, my picks on this one. Let me go to my document. Speaking of Wyawega, I have them as one of my picks here. I think Omro is going to be fun in this team race, but I'm taking, like I said, I think it's one of the bigger shakeups. I'm going to take Lomira to advance.
Agreed. Yep, same two teams. I got them different direction. I got Lomira, Wyawega, Fremont, number 1, 2, the newcomers to the sectional. And then I think they're going to be battling for that run to the team state. First time ever for them, I think. Isn't it, Doug, Lomira, if they make it to team state?
No, Lomira's been to team state a few times since I've been at North Fond Du Lac. They finished second one year. I think it was the mid 2000s. So they've been to Team
Gotcha.
State a few times and had some success at Team State.
All right, Steve, Regional
And,
2. I'm pumped for this one, man.
Yeah, I mean, a team we've been pretty high on. I think they're going to be. I think we're kind of giving it to Lomira, but Waterloo is a team that's on the rise, right? I think they're going to make a challenge. Obviously, with this wide open sectional, I think they're, smelling a little blood in the water and looking to take an opportunity to advance their team to Team State. So Waterloo's my first one, and the second one, Teague's just wide open. I mean, I know Kenosha Christian Life. We just saw a Dolphin wrestle this past weekend. I'm looking at a lot of different teams. I'm going to go with Horicon as my number 2 team.
All right, yeah. Again, I cheated. I did look at standings here. I saw it was Waterloo and Marshall that won last year. And, I think Coach Schuster's going to keep riding the momentum. I have Waterloo as my first team. And I'll take one of my teams on the rise in this sectional. I picked them last year to make it. I think this is the year Kenosha St. Joe's breaks through to team sectionals.
Oh, yeah, good point.
We'll need to put these as receipts somewhere and see how much our picks change. But, Doug, I think you brought it up, but it was cool. Catholic Central, they didn't co-op with any team. They're just their own program now, which we love to see. Like Steve said, you love to see those co-ops break off and be their own entities. So Catholic Central doing the right things. That's the show, I guess. That was fun. That was a good time. Doug, I'm just always impressed, man. I look at your spreadsheet, just all the notes that you have, all the observations that you make, and man, I enjoy having you on every time. We appreciate it.
Well, thanks. I love doing this with you guys, and it is always fun. And boy, this year it took them so long to put out the regional pairings again. They used to come out in May. So I think a lot of us were just dying, like checking every day. When are they going to come out?
It was getting to that point because I was thinking, I'm like, man, I feel like it's getting pretty late here. But
I was in Niagara Falls when you texted me about doing this because the pairings had just come out.
That's right, yeah. Doug, I was going to ask you because I saw on Wiz Sports they said, so wrestling for the division change in 2 years. Maybe this should be like another conversation. But teams moving up divisions, that's just for team and not individual?
No, I don't think they'd be able to do that because
okay, thank you.
At the regionals, so no, it'd be for everything. So
okay,
if anyone moves up to D2, they're in D2 for individual and for team.
So
unless
maybe
unless they change the whole system of qualifying.
Maybe I'll diplomatically tweet at Travis Wilson and say like, "Hey, how does this situation plan on looking?" Yeah. All right. Yeah. I guess we got some Fargo stuff coming up next week. We're also going to have the Holman girls coaches coming up here soon. Just talk about their program, all the good things that they've done. Once again, folks, want to thank everyone for tuning in, not just tonight, but for the past 4 years. We've really been enjoying the run. We've had a lot of fun with it. And, yeah, Steve-O, you got anything?
No, that's great, man. Doug, appreciate you. Four-time champ of the show. Love having you on, and just always appreciate what you bring to the sport of wrestling. And keep coaching, man. Keep doing what you're doing.
All right. Thanks, guys. I really appreciate you having me on. It's always fun.
And folks, until next time for the Wisconsin Wrestler podcast, we will catch you on the flip